Today on Historical Recipes, we are going to be making a lemon sponge cake with a lemon jelly filling and a cream filling from this book, The White House Cookbook. It was originally printed when President Hoover was president, and his wife, Lou Henry Hoover, these were her favorite recipes, so it's a collection of her recipes she had while she was in the White House as First Lady. Okay, so I'm gonna start reading this recipe for the sponge cake. So the first thing is I have to level 1 cup of flour. Into 1 level cup of flour, put a level teaspoonful of baking powder and sift it. So I don't have a sift, so this is what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be putting it in a medium small bowl, I guess, and sifting them together. So now we have to grate off the yellow rind of the lemon. So I have this grater and a lemon. So now that we have our lemon rind, we are going to separate the whites from the yolks of 4 eggs. So we have to crack these 4 eggs. I'm going to put the yolks in here because this is where we're going to be combining everything. And I'm going to be putting the whites in here so I don't have to whisk them by hand. Okay, so next we are going to measure a scant cup of white granulated sugar and beat it to a cream with the yolks, and then add the grated rind and a tablespoonful of the juice of the lemon into the yolks. Now we're going to add the lemon. And we need to cut this lemon in half and get some juice out. I'm going to do the whole lemon because it's a lemon cake. Now we're going to mix that together. Now we are going to beat the whites into a stiff froth, and then quickly without beating, a third of the flour with the yolks and then a third of the whites, and so on. So I'm going to go beat these egg whites with this attachment to our mixer. Alright, so we're going to put a third of the flour in here. And then we're going to put some whites in here. And we have to whisk them together and then repeat the same process until everything is gone. So it's probably at this point where I should probably mention that this doesn't have a temperature. We don't have a temperature to bake it at, and we don't have a time to bake it at. So what we need to do is we're going to go with the temperature of 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we're going to put it in, as it says, until it can be run through clean with like a toothpick. So this is done. It tells us to bake this immediately, but I have to wait for that to heat up and I have to butter and flour my pans. So I decided that 2 pans was not going to be enough because we have so much batter. So we're going with 3 pans, and we're going to divide this evenly into the 3 pans. So now we are going to do the lemon jelly filling. The first thing that we need to do is grate the yellow from the rind of 2 lemons and squeeze out the juice. And that's what we're going to do. Have our lovely zest now, and we're going to be putting it into this larger bowl. And then we're going to cut these up and then juice them. So the next thing that we have to do is to add 2 cupfuls of sugar to this lemon stuff. Okay, so now that I said that, I read ahead, and we're going to keep the lemons to the side, crack 2 eggs, separate the yolks and the whites, beat them separately, add the sugar to the yolk, and then add the whites to the lemons, and then we'll go from there. We're going to whisk together the eggs. Okay, so we're going to go over and beat the egg whites with the whisk attachment on our mixer. So now we are going to add the sugar to the yolks. So that is 2 cups of sugar. That's a lot of sugar. With the whites of the eggs, I beat it to stiff peaks because it didn't specify how they were beaten. Yeah, and then we have to add the whites till these are as mixed as I could get. We are going to add okay, so it says to mix the sugar and the yolks, then add the whites and then the lemons. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put this into here, so then I can transfer this into the big bowl with the lemon and the juice. Now we're going to add this mixture to the lemons. I'm not sure if they had smaller lemons back then, or if we just have giant lemons now, because that's a lot of juice. I also should probably mention that to get the correct heat of the oven, back in the 1920s they would throw flour into the oven, and when they threw it into the oven, if it was golden brown, that means the oven was hot enough for a cake. Now, we have modern ovens now, where they just, punch in a number and, you have the temperature of the oven, but it wasn't quite like that back then. You just have to guesstimate. Okay, so now that this is done, we have to boil some water and get a cup of boiling water. Is that a cup? Okay, so we have a cup of water, and then we have to pour this in. Stir into this 2 tablespoonfuls of sifted flour. So now we need to add a tablespoonful of melted butter and then cook until it thickens. So we're gonna go put this on some heat, I guess, and then add some butter. Okay, so our cakes came out and they were in for about 13 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And we have made the lemon cream, or not the lemon cream, the lemon jelly, and it's cooling right now. We've decided not to make the cream because we think the lemon will be enough for this lovely lemon cake. So we're going to wait until that cools and then we'll assemble this lovely sponge cake. So we have a cake holder presentation thing, and we're going to stack and layer the cake and the lemon filling in this thing and then top it with some powdered sugar. And it's lighting. It might be very heavy. Yeah. This is something. Now we're gonna add some powdered sugar on top. Sifted. Of course, my specialty. This is our final project. It's a little like a slanty shanty. Thank you for watching. Now we're going to cut the cake and see what they think.
Scented. How do you get slimy?
I was meaning sugary.
It's finally sugar content.
It's very spongy.
Mm-hmm. A little bit slimy because of the frosting.
It's like I ate a can of Pledge.